one of the discussions that tends to arise when we talk about corruption issues, criminal matters, is Nigerians tend to say, well, you know, our institutions are reactive; they're not proactive. Now, you mentioned EFCC, you mentioned the police to deal with some of these issues. But when we talk about briefcase NGOs, we're talking about people who register NGOs as if they're private companies. And then they can go about and do pretty much anything they like with it under the guise of this altruistic venture. Now, what we've heard in the past is the EFCC and the police can investigate them after maybe a crime has been committed. Should we wait to that point, or should we be able to separate the wheat from the chaff before they get to that point?
There is no NGO, briefcase NGO, that can get grants unless that donor is run by fools. They will give grants to an NGO without a program, without convincing themselves that the NGO can execute that program. And if it happens once, they shut down. They don't give again. So it's not easy to, in fact, the reason why after my tenure, I said I'm not going to get involved again in NGO work is because I don't want to start raising funds. I don't want to start asking people for funds because it's difficult I look at my self-esteem. I said, no, I've done this before, I can't do it again. Let others now start doing it. To raise funds is not easy. Many of them are regulated by their own country. If they are foreign donors, their laws. I remember when we started, even in 1987, we applied to the publisher of The Guardian, Alex Ibro, through our organ for some support. He gave us money to pay for rent. Before we paid that rent, somebody else gave us money to do it. So we said, well, it's only fair we'll tell him that we have got his money elsewhere to pay this rent. But should we, can we use the money for something? They said, no, we can't. It's meant for you to pay rent. So we refunded the money. It happens all the time. Sometimes projects are not well executed. The NGOs, when we were in CLO, they used to send auditors from abroad to audit our activities, our programs, our reports. You know, so this thing is not such. If it's so easy to raise funds, yes, I mean, people will not be looking for jobs. You understand what I'm saying? It's not easy to raise funds, and many of them have to be. They have to properly account for what they raise, or they don't exist. You know, that is the issue.
So for you, after this public hearing, there's no need for an amendment. There's nothing they're amending here, as far as you can see. What
the bill is trying to do is already being done by other institutions, company and allied matters. In fact, it should be so easy to register an NGO without all kinds of hindrances, you know, so that then your work will determine whether you exist or die.
So, you know, you mentioned that it's difficult to raise funds. Now, that's if you're an NGO dealing with a proper donor doing a proper project.
Yes.
But we know that there are NGOs that are started and they go to public officials who connive with them to use state money and funnel it through their NGO into foreign accounts, domestic accounts. Now, this is what I'm referring to when I say, is there nothing we can do to be proactive?
That is where the EFCC comes in. That is where the ICPC comes in. And that is where the banks come in, because this money must go through banks. There is BVN. Now, if you have 20 accounts, your company account, your farm, your fashion industry, your computer village, and you have the same BVN, it will be obvious from the transactions. And if there is a transaction that exceeds a certain limit, it will be queried.
So
issues will come up.
If you could advise your colleagues, I mean, you're now a former colleague, but you're always an honourable. If you could talk to them, what would you say to them about this bill now that they've done
kill it, channel their energy to other issues, strengthen other loopholes that they see, existing institutions. We cannot continue to expand the government. The government is already so big that we spend more than 70% of our budget, you know, servicing governmental institutions, you know, and it keeps expanding. One reason why, way back, I opposed one of the bills that came to the floor for the same reason that it's going to expand government. They were going to have a national council on procurement, which means even state governments will report to that council. But because of our position, at the point OBT want to talk to me, but because of our position, they had to change it. It was now left to the state to set up their own councils.
Well, let's see.
But then that is still expanding the government.
We will wait and see if the House of Reps will take your advice. So we have to thank you most kindly for coming.
I want to appeal to them to listen to what the public is saying.
Thank you so much.
Opinion.
Abdul Ora is a former member of the House of Representatives and also the former executive director of the Civil Liberties Organization.